So I'm Randy Patterson. I graduated from Carey High School in 1976. My parents were Keith and Arlene Patterson, and we lived on 4 acres where Craig Patterson lives now. Is kind of where we grew up. There was a house there. Dad hooked a trailer up next to the house and expanded the little house for the family, so there's enough room for us to be able to live, have a little space. I really enjoyed my time at Carey School. It's a good thing that I was as dense as I was. Otherwise, I could have really gotten a lot of trouble. I was a little socially awkward at that age, and so if I'd have known then what I know now, I could have really gotten a lot of trouble. But as it is, I really enjoyed drama with Ken Meekum. We was one of his first classes when he first started teaching there. We was going to school there, and then also I really liked Vern Jolly and Blaine Tingy. Vern Jolly, I remember with him, I really liked math. Math came easy to me. I really enjoyed it, and I kept asking him with trigonometry. It's like, so what's a real-world application for this stuff? And he really couldn't tell me. But later on in life, I ended up being an electrical contractor, and so instead of getting out the plumb bobs and figuring out where lights needed to go, I did it using trig. And I remember one project in particular where the fireplace was at a weird angle. It wasn't, 45 and kind of centered in the corner. It was at a weird angle. And so what happened, most contractors get out plumb bobs and kind of measure and do all this stuff, and it'd be an all day, all afternoon project to figure out where to put stuff. And I just got aboard and I started figuring stuff out. And I said, measure out this far, and put one there, and measure out this far and that far, and put one there, because they wanted it 2 foot off the front of the fireplace. And anyway, I found out later that the contractor went in later and got out the plumb bobs and everything. And he goes, wow. But I found the real world application for trig. I used it a lot when I was an electrician and different things like that, and also building and doing projects and stuff. So anyway, it came in real handy. That's tough. Probably Vern Jolly. I gave him a hard time to no end, but I really liked Vern. He was a good teacher. I really liked Ken Meekum. Blaine Tingy. I remember Mr. Tingy used to just shake his head at me because I was really smart, but I didn't apply myself very well. And so he'd go, you're capable of so much more. But anyway, yeah. We was in a really small class. Graduated with 14. And so there was Craig Adamson and Tom Peck. Tom was in our class. Dennis Baird, Brock Baird. Ran around a lot with Brock. We were kind of attached at the hip. He and I played a lot of chess. Mainly people in our class. The class behind us, they were incorrigible, so we didn't associate much with them. and class ahead was pretty good. Bomb Maine. that was back when gas was. I worked at Adamson's while I was a junior and a senior. I got released time from school and worked there. And I remember gas was like $59.9. In Picaboo, you get it for $49.9. It was a different day and age, and so you'd throw some gas in the car and go up and down the street, and everybody else drove up and down the street, and that's kind of what we did, was go bomb Maine. That was tough. I had no clue what I wanted to be when I grew up. Grown up. Didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and still don't. Still have no clue. I just some things I like to do, but as far as work and stuff like that goes, I didn't have it picked out. When I graduated from high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do.
What did you end up doing?
Mostly owning businesses. One thing my dad told me, he said, you'll never get where you want to go working for somebody else, and I took that to heart. And so I spent some time working for other people, but I was always looking for opportunity. And so I did a lot of different things, started this business, that business, and some of them did really, really well, and some of them just kind of fell flat on their face. And anyway, the ones that did really, really well outnumbered the ones that fell flat on their face, so that was good. It's kind of, life is kind of weird, if you don't have a plan of where you're going, a lot of things happen by chance. And so I was in between jobs. I worked at a farm down in Dietrich for a while, and quick as I got done with that, well then I was looking for the next thing, and happened to end up working for Roberts Electric. And Craig was working there, and anyway, that kind of changed a lot because we ended up starting our own electrical contracting business. And it was just that happened to be a job that was open at that time, and so that kind of formed where we went. It was a series of fortunate events instead of unfortunate events, I guess you'd say. But worked for Roberts for 4 or 5 years. And then we started CNR Electric in '95, and I sold it to Craig in 2004. And kind of took a break from doing that stuff, and then we started, John and Summer and us, we started the 5B Boat and RV, the storage units down there, and we just sold those out this last year. I was going to go in the Navy and ended up colorblind, and they were going to start me out as an E6 in the Navy, and because I scored the highest in the state that year on the ASVAB test. And so they were going to start me out as an E6 and put me in the nuclear program and all this stuff, and I get over there to do the physical, and I'm colorblind. And they said, well, you could be a CB. And I went, no, I'm not going to join the Navy to be a CB if I'm going to, I was going to go in to do the nuclear program and stuff. And so it's kind of weird how, by me being colorblind, I ended up not going into the Navy. And I look at all the different things that happened in my life because I didn't go down that path. A lot of times you think of a little decision that you make as not a big deal. But then when you look back at it, and it's like, okay, if I'd went this way instead of this way, how those two different paths would have taken you way different in life down the road. So just those little decisions make a huge difference. Spent a lot of time in politics. I was on the city council for 8 years, and then I took 4 years off, and then I was a mayor for 12. So Heber Kirkland was the first mayor. He's the one that got appointed mayor, and then Rick Baird did it for, I think he was in there almost 12 years. And those are some big shoes to fill. Those guys were really good, Rick and Heber both, they were good. And Rick found out that I was thinking about running, and he goes, yep, you can do it. And so anyway, so I spent 12 years as a mayor. It was real rewarding. My favorite part about being the mayor was marrying people. I kind of have a mixed track record there about how those worked out. And then also the Heritage Court. They honor senior citizen from Carey, one of the ladies, and they give them a sash, and they put a crown on their head, and they have this big deal for them, and then they ride in the parades, and they just really make those ladies feel special. And that was one of my favorite things to do as a mayor, was to escort those ladies, and each year they'd choose one person from the valley, and it was just really, really special. They had a good camaraderie, those ladies did, and it was just really neat to be able to take part in that, make them feel special. Travel. I love travel. We've done all 50 states. Got a chance to go to Israel, chance to go to Egypt. In fact, this is my name in hieroglyphs. Been in King Tutankhamun's tomb. Got to touch the Great Pyramid of Giza. Been in Jerusalem. Saw all the sights there. Sea of Galilee. It's just, I love to travel, and looking forward to doing a whole bunch more. Like to go to Antarctica. We have a cruise scheduled to go there. Haven't been to South America, but we got trip scheduled there. When we get done with the next 2 years, I think the only thing I lack is Australia, as far as continents. We got all 50 states in, and so it's like, okay, let's work on continents. And it's amazing the different cultures. You get around people and how they live and kind of their thinking in life and stuff, and it's so much different than what we know. So much different. I do. It was a good base. They taught us how to read, taught us how to write, taught us how to do math, and basically taught us everything that we needed to do to start the next aspect of life, whether that was going out and working for somebody, or if it was going to school, going to college. Everybody I talked to, that graduated in our class when they went to college, they said they was very well prepared for going to college. So I think Carey School provided a really good education for people. That is a tough one. Probably the most difficult thing I've had to go through in my life was losing a son. And it kind of puts it right in your face, what life's all about. It was out of the blue. In fact, it was Heidi that called Julie and said, "Shelley needs you." And anyway, it just gives you a little bit different perspective on life when you go through something like that, and you understand that one thing you do learn is you can go through hard things. Another thing that you learn is it really helps to have a community like Carey when something like that happens. The outpouring of love and support from the community was exceptional, and it helped us get through that time. Be very, very, very careful who you listen to. I used to they'd do job fairs and stuff like that at the school, and I'd go in there and talk to the students and tell them about, I'm going to be a tradesperson. It's like, well, you need math to do that. Really? Well, yeah, but to be very, very, I used to tell them that, be very, very, very careful who you listen to. If you're going to take advice from somebody, take a look at their lifestyle or what they've done. And if that's the lifestyle that you want, or if that's where you want to be in life, then take their advice. But if they're not where you want to be, I'd be pretty careful about listening to what they have to say. The fruit on the tree thing means a lot, and it's very true. And so you kind of look at what fruit they've got, and if that's the fruit you want, by all means listen to them. Find a mentor. Find somebody that's where you want to be that will teach you how to get there. It makes it a whole bunch easier instead of you having to go out, blaze a road, find a trail, and make your own way. Find somebody that's already done it and ask them to mentor you. My family. I'm proud of my kids, Were they perfect? No. By no means. They took after their dad instead of their mom, so they weren't perfect. But they all turned out okay. They all turned out great. Got some really successful kids that have done really well. They know what's important in life, and that's 90% of it. It's just understanding what's the most important in life and making sure that's taken care of, and then everything else just kind of falls in place. I'm Randy Patterson, and I graduated from Carey High School in 1976.